Looking for the latest comic book to add to your collection? How about the last card for that Magic the Gathering Commander deck? Well, the comic book stores got you covered. Shop online at comicbookstore.tcgplayerpro.com or come in person at 30 North Main Street, Glassboro, New Jersey. Hey pizza people, welcome back. Hollywoodpizza here. And we've got a pretty exciting deck list for you today. We've got some Jund Blitz, that's right. We're calling it Ballroom Blitz today. We've got a deck full of some hasty threats and some pretty beefy threats on top of that can kind of get a little bit out of control as well. So let's go ahead and get over the deck list here. We've got 3 Blood Chief's Thirst, 4 Voltage Surge, and 2 Dread Fugue for our 1-drops. The Blood Chiefs and the Voltage Surge are just great removal spells where either one of them can kill creatures or planeswalkers. Essentially, the Voltage Surge is only 1 mana, especially if we have like a treasure laying around from a Fable, anything like that, or even like a Kalane. Riveteer's Requisitioner can also give us some treasures as well. So essentially, the Voltage Surge can mostly deal 4 damage a lot of the time, and the Blood Chief Surge can pretty much kill any card, planeswalker or creature for any mana value. Yeah, at the 1-drop, it can help with any aggressive strategy as well. The Dread Fugue kind of helps round out a lot of the curve where you can potentially just take a 2-drop or less from the opponent's hand, and then later on you can cleave it and take any card out of the opponent's hand for 3 mana. In our 2-drop slot, we've got 2 Riveteer's Requisitioner, we got 4 Riveteer's Requisitioner at the 2-drop slot. It's 2 mana, 3/1. When it dies, it creates a treasure token, 3 mana to blitz it in. So essentially, the deck revolves around Blitz. Blitz is you can pay it and get it into play for its Blitz cost. And at the end of the next end step, you have to sacrifice it, but then you get to draw a card. So essentially, there's some value there, and you kind of get in for some damage right away with your Blitz cards. We have 3 Kalanes to help ramp us a bit and essentially make our creatures a lot bigger. It can help get us from the 2-drop to the 4-drop slot, which we'll get to our 4-drops here in a moment, but Kalane's great, gives you a treasure as well for the Voltage Surge, same as the Requisition as we mentioned earlier, so a bit of synergy already in some of our early plays, which is nice. In the middle of the game, essentially turn 3, we've got Graveyard Trespassers, 2 of them, 4 Fables, 3 Stormseekers, and 2 Riveteer's Charm. The Riveteer's Charm can essentially help with removal or card advantage. Reckless Stormseeker is just a decent 3-drop, and it helps give anything else that comes after it haste on top of that. And it has haste as well. Essentially you can give itself haste, excuse me. The Fables we've seen quite a bit of in most of the decks that play red. Essentially it makes a 2/2 goblin that can make a treasure token which can feed into the Voltage Surge. And on top of that, it can kind of help filter some extra land, some cards that you don't necessarily need. And then you can use it to create token copies of some of your more powerful cards later in the game. Trespasser is great as well. It has some good anti-graveyard strategy. And on top of that, it's just great with Ward, good on rate, 3 mana, 3/3. Helps deal some additional damage, and against other decks, if you can kind of get it to flip over, it's going to be great as well. For the 4-drop slot, we have 3 Helena and Elena, 4 Zeatora's Envoy. So Helena and Elena helps give haste as well. Can kind of speed out some of these threats. But overall, just having First Strike and Reach is already powerful as well. So this card can get out of hand very quickly. And you definitely want to play it and get it out as soon as you can. We have 4 Zeatora's Envoy as well, which is just a great Blitz card. 4 mana, 5/4 with Trample. Just really good stats overall. Whenever this card deals combat damage to a player, look at the top card of your library. You may play a land card from the top, or cast a spell mana value less than or equal to the damage it dealt, without paying its mana cost. If you don't, you actually get to put it in your hand. So either way, this card is going to draw you a card, or get to cast a card for free. So you can set up turns where you have this flipped over for Reflection, you copy your Zeatora, and before your opponent knows it, they're just taking a ton of damage, and you're getting some cards for free. On top of that, it has Blitz for 5 mana. So you can even play it and have haste if you kind of put your opponent in some awkward situations where you've already flooded the board with some of your earlier threats. Just a really, really solid card overall, especially at the 4 mana slot. To help round out the deck here, we've got 2 Workshop War Chiefs, which for 5 mana, it's a 5/3 with Trample. When it enters, you get to gain 3 life. So Thragtusk Reminiscent, especially when it dies, it gets to create a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior token. And then you can blitz it in for 6 mana. So essentially a pretty powerful threat, especially once you keep going with the reflection of Kiki-Jiki here. So lots of good synergies in the deck, lots of power overall. You can get in for a pretty good amount of damage early in the game, and even later in the game you can kind of just like give your cards haste off of like the Helenas, the Blitz overall, and just crush in for quite a bit of damage. Turns of lands here, we have 2 Hive of the Eye Tyrants and a Den of the Bugbear for some creature lands. And then we have a slew of, we have the Zeotor's Proving Grounds, some Pathways, and some slow lands from the Innistrad sets. In our sideboard, we have 4 Ray of Enfeeblements, 2 Riveteer's Charms, 4 Duresses, and 4 Unleash the Inferno. It's pretty straightforward sideboard here with the extra Graveyard Trespasser, but overall the Rays are for any white creature deck. We have Graveyard Trespasser kind of help grind the game out or against any additional graveyard strategies, and we also have 2 Riveteer's Charms to help grind out the game or help against anything that we need more removal against, same as the Unleash the Infernos, which are just great 2-for-1s against specific matchups. You can kill a Planeswalker and a Fable, kill a creature, Fable, some treasures laying around, some blood tokens laying around. Just a really, really solid card overall. 4 Duresses help out, and any kind of mid-rangey to control matchups. So overall, really strong deck. I enjoyed playing it quite a bit, and I definitely recommend it for the ladder, especially if you enjoy playing aggro decks. And we're going to go ahead and jump right into some games. Jund Blitz coming in here. See if we can get some hastiness going. Oh, gotta take a mulligan here. We don't have enough lands to cast our spells. This hand's a little bit better. I actually think I want to keep all of my spells, just because we want to make sure that we still have something to do later in the game when we draw our lands. And I think for tempo's sake, we may as well just get rid of this. If we hit our 3rd land, we're just playing our 3-drops anyways, and then we can have the Requisitioner later whenever we have more mana. And it looks like 2 more Initiates coming down. We do draw land, which is fantastic. We'll go ahead and play the Stormseeker first. And I think that we just pass the turn back to our opponent here, leaving some blocks open, just to make sure we don't take too much damage. Could have a Brutal Cathar or Skyclave Apparition, which would be a bit annoying, but we have other cards to help. And looks like they're just going to come in with both Initiates. Nope. They chose not to. So we could play Requisitioner. Let's go and just Dread Fugue first. Again, to take the Adversary, they have Adelines left. Requisitioner will help us get the Helena down. We're not attacking either way, so we'll just pass it back. Okay, see what they pump up here. It looks like they're just going to pump up the Aspirant, that's fine. And we actually just draw land, so that helps huge. And we'll go get this down. We'll pump up the Stormseeker, pump up the Helena. It's 5-6, pass back. And now our cards are just going to get pretty massive. If we can get a creature with trample, it's going to be huge. The Fable is also going to help kind of get rid of any additional lands that we're drawing here on out as well. We're topping out at 4 mana with 5, I guess 5 for the War Chief, but I think right now we can cast almost all of our spells. And coming in for quite a bit of damage here. Let's see here. So you have to block the Adeline. Block the token. I think we block here just to save ourselves some damage. Okay, back up Adeline. So the creatures are getting big. We hit a War Chief, which is actually great. Let's just cast that. Gain some life. think that we can target the War Chief, pump up the Helena, and we'll pass it back. So now we just have an 8-6 and a 5-6, which feels pretty good. Do have quite a lot going on though with this Luminarch Aspirant. Okay, gonna pump that up. We can take a huge hit from the Adeline here though if need be. We don't have to block it right now. Yep, just gonna block these 3/4s. Excuse me, the 4/5s. Block the token, take 8, go down to 12. We lose a lot of their board. Their Adeline's pretty big, but we can still deal with that. I think we're actually going to hold on to this Hive because it's not necessarily doing anything too crazy. We can discard it to the Fable next turn. We'll put some counters on the War Chief. Pump up the Helena again. It's an 11-9. And we'll pass it back. The token can be suicided as well to kind of get some mana for it. So, yep, still going to pump up the Adeline. Don't think that they have a good attack right now, though. And we have an Envoy, which is great. I think we'll discard the Hive. We hit the untapped land, which is fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and just blitz this in. We will pump up the War Chief. Yeah, we will pump up the War Chief, I think. And then pump up the Helena, and then, yeah, the War Chief will be like 15 powered. So we're up against pretty much like a mono white deck. We have our Ray of Enfeeblements here for that. Get rid of these Dread Fugues. Get rid of a Requisitioner. The Riveteer's Charms are just okay. Bring in the Trespasser. And I think that's good. I mean, we have tons of removal here. Yeah, I think that should be fine. Trespasser is a good threat, and it could gain us life as well, which is fantastic in this matchup. So let's go ahead and see how our opponent's sideboard's here. They change up their game plan a bit. Kind of wondering what the blue's for, right? Okay. And we're going to be on the draw, so going to be a little bit slower here. Kind of hoping to not get overran. Opponent could have a curve out. They had a bit of an interesting draw there. They also had a little bit of some questionable attacks. Maybe they thought that we weren't going to block a certain way or try to kill the Adeline. Don't think there was ever a point where it was that threatening. Yeah, let's see if we can get a good opening hand here. And I think it's pretty decent. We can definitely keep it. Start off with the Glade into the Crag Crown. And we have 2 removal spells, so looks pretty good. Removal, creatures, lands. Okay, Initiate. Could start off with the Vital Surge. Let's do the Proving Ground. It gives us all of our colors. Ooh, Thalia is pretty good here. We kind of just have to shoot that down. Just get rid of that. Pass it back. Opponent is down to just a few cards here. If they have a 3rd land drop, then yep, only 3 cards plus a creature would leave them down to 2 cards. No creature though, so we'll play Glade. I think it's okay to get the Fable. It blocks the Hopeful Initiate and gives us the most tempo essentially. Opponent with 3 cards. Okay, they do have a Skyclave, so they're going to get rid of the Fable. But we're okay with that. We can actually just kill this and get ourselves a 3/3. That would be okay. Yeah, I actually think that's fine. Let's get ourselves a 3/3 here. We'll attack for 2. And then we're able to play Requisitioner. Or excuse me, I forgot that I took up our mana there. Sorry about that. Well, we're able to play Requisitioner down with Blitz next turn. We gotta get some blitzing going. Oh, well, they're able to get rid of our token. That's fine. Take another point of damage. Opponent down to 1 card. So I actually think let's get Stormseeker down. We'll Ray of Enfeeblement this blocker. They have a protection spell. They do not. We'll pump up the Stormseeker. Giving it haste. Come in for 5. Put them down to 13 if they don't have any kill spell here. Play this as a red source. Play a Requisitioner. And then we have a backup one that we're going to blitz. So we have quite a bit of damage coming in. Some card draw as well. Okay, they're going to activate Crawling Baron, so they're going to attack, put us down to 13. They're going to take quite a bit of damage here on the crackback. I was about to say, I think it's almost like worth it to have trade with their land at this point and then get the Requisitioner down with haste. So, bit of an easy matchup there for us. I think we just have a lot bigger creatures, and we ended up just having better draws overall that match. So, we'll see how we fare up the rest of the matches. Playing some more Ballroom Blitz here. Jund Blitz. Getting in with some hasty creatures. Some pretty big beefy creatures as well. Alright, gonna be on the play here. Pretty decent hand. We can keep this. 2 removal pieces. Decent late game card. And another removal piece to redraw. It's pretty good. I think we start off with Deathcap Glade. Kind of move from there. Opponent did mulligan. Looks like we're up against a Grixis type deck. I think that we're okay playing this as a red source and passing back. Potentially using this Voltage Surge on a creature they play. Okay, they have another tap land. They have a Rockfall Veil and a pass. So, could be up against like a 4-color deck here. Okay, looks like vampires. And I think we can just Surge this. Yeah, 4 cards left. We had an Envoy, which is great actually. Right on time for the curve. Let's get that down. Next turn we have the War Chief. And we still have 2 pieces of removal. Okay. We do have Edgar here. So we can attack. Is it better to just Blood Chiefs? I think that it is. They'll get a little bit of an army, but I think we kind of have to come in when we can. Our top card, we get to play it. So we get another Zeotora down. Play this as a green source, pass back. And right now we have 10 trample, so our opponent has to deal with that. They have a Corpse Appraiser, that's fine. 2 cards left in hand. Draw a land, we might just blitz this, or we can blitz this and make them sacrifice a creature. Seems pretty good too. Okay, milling some cards. Alright, so we play this as a black source. And I do think that we blitz this in. And we might almost want to see if they double block. Let's swing in for damage here, coming in for 13. If they double block, then we just use the Riveteer's Charm to make them sacrifice the Corpse Appraiser. But it looks like they're just going to let this damage through here. I actually think we'll make them sacrifice their Corpse Appraiser now just to deal more damage. It's going to be 10 trample. Do they have a removal spell? 2 mana open. Looks like our opponent's just going to concede there. Wow, okay. We're about to potentially get 2 more free spells from the Ziatora's Envoys. You know they have Edgar, which is pretty good. Let's see. Looks like 4 color mid-range, maybe? I like the Riveteer's Charm there. Didn't really see some crazy 2-drops. I think we can cut these for now. Cut a Requisitioner. Bring in the Charms. Ray of Enfeeblement seems pretty good here. Maybe like a couple. We're seeing white for Edgar, but I don't even know if it's necessary to bring those in. I guess we can bring in a couple so that way we can just deal with it right away. The tokens could be a problem though. We don't have any way of exiling outside of Trespasser, but then the card has to be in the graveyard. Could play Unleash Inferno to destroy the Edgars. Maybe over the Charm. Could bring in like a couple of them, but then our mana cost gets a lot higher here in the deck. Alright, let's try something like this out. I still like the 1-up Ray just because if we have it, then we can just get rid of the Edgar for 1 mana or another problematic like white creature if they have it. Not sure what's in their deck, but looks pretty cool. Go ahead, keep this hand. I think we start off with the Rockfall into Kalane. Yep. And then we also have Fable here, which will be nice eventually. Kalane, I think into the Stormseeker. Or, yeah, still Kalane into Stormseeker, but we keep the treasure for the Voltage Surge. Let's see what our opponent's doing. Mountain and 2 Rafine's Towers. Quite interesting. Okay. Do we play this as a black or a red? I think we just have so much red that we have to play this as a red. That way we can still keep Voltage Surge up either way. Do we make a 4/4 Trespasser? Or do we keep this to kill a 4/4? I think we'll just play this out normally, still keeping the treasure with the Voltage Surge. Okay, looks like they're just going to kill Kalane. That's fine. We're okay with that. I think we're going to get to go to combat, maybe? Okay, just another removal spell, sure. Opponent down to 4 cards. 5 cards now if they have a land plus a spell. They'll be down to 3. So they do have a Corpse Appraiser here to redraw them some cards though, which is nice. I think we're okay with that still. I believe we Fable with the Voltage Surge next turn. Seems pretty good. Oh, we also have a Blood Chief's Thirst. So that actually makes this play feel a lot better. That way we can save ourselves some damage here for a little bit. Play this as a second black source. Play the Fable down. We'll need the double black, I think, before we'll need the double green. We can get the double green off of the Goblin token if need be. Another Corpse Appraiser seems pretty good. They'll get a redraw. Okay, could also be looking for a land here. Oh, looks like they just have one. And the kill spell for the Goblin, okay. We hit an Envoy. I don't really think that we want to get rid of any of the cards in our hand. I think I'll just play the Envoy here. Fable's going to flip over, and either one of these cards is great value with the Fable. I mean, the Envoy is just fantastic too, so... Either way, I don't really think we're looking too bad right now. Could have Evelyn. But even then, I'm not too worried. I actually think the Bloodtithe Harvester is really good here, though. Kills our Reflection, unless we kill the Bloodtithe. Okay, yep. Just gonna kill that with the Voltage Surge, hitting us for 3 damage. And we do get a Fable here flipping over. They don't have a blood token right now. So I actually think it's okay to just go through with this. Pass it back. Even if they do have another blood producer, we still just have a lot going on. Removal spell plus the Trespasser is going to be nice. Okay, looks like they're just going to pass it back. So even better for us here. I think we try to copy the War Chief. They have Soul Shatter. That's fine. Get a 4/4. We'll go ahead and kill the Bloodtithe Harvester now. Play a Trespasser. So we have 2 good threats besides the Reflection, which is already a dangerous card. Do they have a counterspell here for us? Okay, they just have Voltage Surge for the Reflection. That's fine. We have a Glutton now. So we'll exile 2 creatures. Going up to 22. Opponent down to 18. Trespasser does flip, but we were able to get some value off of the other side of it. Okay, 2 cards left, so they could have an Evelyn here. Just a Soul Shatter. Okay, Trespasser's going to go. And... interesting. Let's go ahead and power up the Hive here. Attack for 7. Exiling Vanishing Burst is fine. Deal our opponent some damage. Play this as a red source. Pass back. Okay, Florian's pretty good. Begin to draw some cards now. Have them down to 11. Do have some pretty good draws in our deck, but it looks like they actually hit a Vanishing Verse here, which is good for them. Okay, we hit a land, so I think that we do just have to kill this Florian now to stop our opponent from taking over in the card advantage department. We can take 3, go down to 16, hit them back for 3, put them down to 8, so it looks like they're going to get the Bank Buster going, which is really good. Yep. We do have a Den of the Bugbear, so now they have a creature land as well. It's getting a bit sketchy here for us. I'm actually surprised they didn't attack, though. I definitely find that quite surprising. Do they have a removal spell of some sort? We're just going to hit them for 3 here, get rid of this Florian. Put them down to 8. Pass it back. We also have a Stormseeker, which would be great if they tap out here. We can top deck a land. We'll hit them for 6. Okay, they just have a Bloodtithe Harvester, though. Pretty good. Gonna take 3. They have Bank Buster up still. And they can crew it. We hit Stormseeker. So let's power this up. They need another blocker here. I think this is just one of the only ways we're going to win. Do they have removal? Looks like they do. Now we'll get a Stormseeker down. So we're mostly looking for like an Envoy, a War Chief. Helena would be good. The Bank Buster is a really good card right now. It's giving our opponent quite a bit of card advantage here. And they do have a Soul Shatter for our creature. Gonna take 6 here, go down to 10. And not the card we wanted to see. We're just dead on the crackback here. Moving on to game 3. Alright. So it looks like the Ray is kind of just almost useless card against them, I think. Inferno seems pretty good. We do have two of them already in the deck. We're going to be on the play this time. Could play a couple Duresses just to make sure we get rid of some things in their deck. Or just one. I think just one is fine. I think we can just roll with this. We're mostly just looking for like an aggressive start. We kind of were a lot slower that game. Not as much of a curve out, but we're still pretty close. Yep, we can definitely keep this hand. It's pretty good. We have Proving Ground on turn 1 into Kalane, which is nice. Or even the Requisitioner. I think we'll go with the Kalane though to get this Trespasser down as a 4/4. That way it can dodge some 3 damage removal spells. And a 5/5 on the other side would be pretty nice as well. Okay, Bank Buster seems pretty good. It's a bit slow, but still good nonetheless. And let's go ahead and get a Trespasser down here as a 4/4. Attack for 1, pass turn back. So if they have like a Fable, anything like that, it's not going to be as powerful. Okay, I'm going to keep up the Bank Buster, looks like. We do have a Graveyard Glutton though. We'll play this as a red. We'll blitz this in. It does give us a treasure as well with the Kalane. Okay, they just have a Soul Shatter. That's fine. And we'll go ahead and hit for 4. Getting a redraw off the Requisitioner and a treasure token, which is great. Okay, getting through our deck here. And Bloodtithe Harvester is going to fall to one of these Voltage Surges. And submit 0. Let's try to kill that. Opponent does have 4 cards left, so it looks like they're just going to Bank Buster here, I believe. Don't have a luxury of a creature land right now. Let's blitz this in without the treasure. And we'll come in for 4. See if we can redraw something good here. We'll go ahead and get this Blight Step down as well as a red source. And we'll pass turn back. Can we keep the blitz going? Yep, we'll go ahead and do that. And we'll get a redraw here. Ooh, that's really good. We get an Envoy. It's going to be nice. Might just play that off both the treasures here. Okay, they got 5 mana. I think that they have an Evelyn here. Elena's pretty good. I actually think that we'll just use 1 treasure here. 3 mana. We hold up both of these removal spells, which is nice. Still comes down as a 6/5, which is pretty big. Looks like they have a kill spell for us, though. Do we attack? I think we try to see if they activate their creature land. If they do, we just kill it with the Voltage Surge. We'll still have a removal spell. Okay, just going to Bank Buster here. And just going to take the 1. And we'll pass turn back. Opponent does have quite a lot of cards. They have another Soul Shatter for us here. Get rid of our Envoy. Pass turn back. Do have quite a bit of cards left in their hand. Okay, they get a Rafine's Tower down. And another Bloodtithe Harvester. We're going to have to just shoot that down with this Voltage Surge, I believe. Okay, the Bank Buster is going to be active as well, which is a bit annoying, but just have to make sure we get most of these creatures off of the battlefield. Okay, we get another Voltage Surge, which is great. I don't think that we want to use the treasure, though. Even though it does pump up our creatures potentially more, I still just like being able to deal 4 damage with this. So let's go ahead and pump up the Kalane. So they're going to Bank Buster now, get the token and the treasure. We're going to swing in for 3. They might block with the token. Okay, just going to hold it up for the Bank Buster. We have 2 removal spells, so we have ways of dealing with it. We're going to crack the blood. They're going to get a redraw here, getting rid of their excess lands. Still have 2 removal spells here, which is nice. Wouldn't mind a creature land, but the Zeotoras and the War Chiefs are what we really want. Just because they're beefier threats, and we can blitz them in as well. Corpse Sprays are coming down. And they're going to get rid of the Zeotora and put a card in their hand from their top 3. Okay. Put some lands in the graveyard there. 5 cards left for our opponent. And probably just going to pass it back here. Okay, we hit a Bloodchief's Thirst. I think we'll just go to combat, pump up our Kalane. Do they have a kill spell here for the Helena? They might. Not yet. And we're just going to start smashing in here, trying to come in. Hold up our removals for whatever creatures they don't chump block with. Okay, gonna crew up the Bank Buster. Let them go to blocks. And yeah, we want to kill the Bank Buster either way first. And we'll sacrifice the treasure. Do they have a counter spell or potentially a removal spell for the Kalane? Not right now, looks like. So this is going to come in and kill their 3/3. And I think we just pass back. Could kill the token, but I don't think that really does anything for us. Oh, they do get a Florian off their deck. It's actually really good they ripped a land off ours, but we also run the risk now of them playing a lot of vampires and getting more cards from us. So we're definitely going to try to kill this Evelyn as soon as we can. Yep, they get a Zeotora. Definitely quite a bit of a problem here. Nighthawk Scavenger as well. Ripping a land. Okay, Helena does have first strike and reach, but Scavenger's a 3/3. Okay. We just have a blood token. We draw Fable, not really doing much for us there. Yeah, I think we definitely have to kill this card. And looks like they're just going to Voltage Surge our Helena as well, which is a bit unfortunate. Still have some draws in the deck that are really good. I think we just have to pass it back. Would have just traded with the Nighthawk Scavenger, and that's not really that great right now. Yep, just going to come in for 4. Going to get the draw card off of the Florian. And they got a tap land, Bank Buster. So our opponent does have quite a bit of card advantage here. Second Nighthawk Scavenger is going to be a lot harder for us to beat as well. We do draw a second Kalane, which isn't bad. Can also kill one of the scavengers. It's probably best to just kill a scavenger here. Has to turn back. Still can't attack. And the Fable could get us some redraws here in a bit. A couple turns where maybe we could hit some more removal spells, but definitely in a tough spot right now. Okay, Corpse Appraiser, gonna get rid of a card. So our opponent definitely just has access to just a lot more cards than we do right now, and cards that we have are just kind of some creatures, so it's not really anything too powerful. I'm gonna take another 4 in the air. And they're gonna get a redraw off of the Florian. Do have a Voltage Surge, so I think we have to Kalane. Go ahead and keep the original one, getting a treasure token. Can actually try to Voltage Surge, Scavenger, see if it happens. And we'll pass the turn back. Still holding the ground down to a certain degree here. Bankbuster does give our opponent another card though. Recycling the Xander's Lounge. And they do have quite a bit of power on the board, but holding them off right now. And it looks like they might activate the Den here. So lots of damage going to be coming in. Just the 3/3s though. I think we block the Den of the Bugbear here. Take 4 damage, go down to 8. Hoping to draw potentially like a secondary spell we can play with this Fable. That way we can kind of keep up with what's going on in the board. But it looks like they have an Abrade here. And that's actually going to finish off our Kalane. So we're actually in a really, really tough spot here. We draw a Stormseeker, and that's actually not going to be enough to do it. So we'll go ahead and concede here and move on to the next match. Playing some more Jund Blitz on the ladder. See if we can keep up with what our opponents are doing. Get some hasty creatures down, beat them down. Alright. So opening a hand does have all of our colors of mana. We're a little bit slow, especially being on the draw. I think that we might have to take a mulligan here to potentially get one of our earlier cards. It's not a bad hand by any means. We will go for the mulligan here. This hand's a little bit faster, but double Kalane is quite redundant. We kind of have to keep it. I don't really want to go down to 5, even being on the draw, so we need to draw some creatures to play in between here. Voltage Surge isn't a bad draw just because we're potentially able to kill a bigger creature on the other side. Go ahead and get this Kalane down here. Looks like we might be playing against 4-color deck again here. And opponent's going to get Search of Greatness, okay? And we have a Helena. So I think we actually just play that down off the treasure. Gonna pump up the Kalane with 3 counters. Come in for 4. So we have quite a bit of an aggressive start here. Especially considering our hand was not the strongest that we could have had. We do have quite a bit of good creatures in our deck that we could draw. Yeah, it looks like they have a Tameo here. Gonna potentially keep one of our creatures tapped. We hit an Envoy. Let's see here. We can give the Envoy haste, which is great. Not the library to a player. Okay. I think we would rather play this as red. Let's play the Envoy. Pump it up. Go ahead and kill the Tameo. Deal our opponent 3. I have 4 cards left. Not really sure what to expect out of their deck, honestly. They're kind of playing a lot of different cards here. Stretch of Greatness and Tameo, plus the fact that they have a Grixis and their own Proving Grounds. Okay, gonna keep that on top. Might end up being a board wipe here. No board wipe. Do they just have an instant speed removal spell? I believe that's highly likely, but we're still just going to come in for damage. Let's pump up the Kalane this time, make that more of a realistic threat. We actually can... Oh, wow. Okay, so they're just going to dig deep into their deck. That's fine. They have a power word kill. They're going to still kill the Envoy. So it looks like putting the counters on the Kalane was still correct. We only have 10 damage here, but still going to be really difficult for our opponent to break through here. We'll keep the big Kalane, get a treasure for this Voltage Surge just in case we need to kill something. Okay, Stretch of Greatness. Put a card on the bottom. And our opponent's going to concede. Move on to game 2 here. So, didn't really see any white creatures. No white at all. They are 4 colors. Unleash the Inferno. Seems decent here. Let's get rid of these Dread Fugues. And I think we can bring in the Duresses. Let's try something like this. I think that'll be pretty good. Yeah, looks like they're still in the sideboard plan. Still not really sure what they're doing. I mean, we've seen a Planeswalker. That's really about the only threat that we've seen from our opponent. We know that there could be a possibility of different types of cards in their deck, though. Standard does have a pretty wide open card pool right now. And we're going to be on the draw this game. Let's hope we can get a pretty decent opening hand here. Fortunately, 1 land, we do have to mulligan. This hand is a little bit better. I think we can keep this and hope to top deck a 3rd mana source, or the Requisitioner dying would give us a treasure. We do hit our 3rd land there. So let's play that first. Search of Greatness again from our opponent. Playing this as a red land with a Requisitioner down. So we're going to get some beat down, maybe a Stormseeker next turn. Followed by Helena. To continually pump up our creatures as well. And looks like our opponent's just might have just been reading our card there. Play this as a green. Let's get the Stormseeker down. Go ahead and pump up Stormseeker if we get to combat. Looks like it might be a bit unlikely. Let's pump it here. Coming in for 6. Alright, looks like we actually got in for some damage, so... Okay, Riveteer's Charm. So they're still going for an Exile 3. I'm actually surprised they're not killing our creatures here. I feel like that would definitely keep them in the game longer, but... Looks like they potentially needed a land drop, and they still have a Riveteer's Charm as a backup, yep. From the one that they had before. So I think here we'll just Fable. Using all of our mana, we'll attack with the Riveteer Requisitioner. Got our opponent down to 11, so definitely dealing quite a bit of damage here. Just need one more land for the Helena or the Envoy. 2 more lands if we wanted to blitz this in. Okay, Fable. The Mirror Breaker coming down. We can kill the token. I think we get rid of the Kalane. Do draw a black source here to kill the token. And come in with both of these creatures for 5 more damage, putting our opponent down to 6. And we'll just pass turn. Looks like they have a Moonveil Regent, which is pretty good. It's going to come down for free. We definitely want to Voltage Surge that, and then we're hoping to just kill our Requisitioner with the damage. I guess they can kill the Goblin as well. We've gotten our use out of it. So definitely unlikely they're going to discard their hand, but one can hope. And let's kill the Moonveil Regent by sacrificing the treasure token. See what our opponent does. In terms of the damage, I'm still thinking they're going to kill the Goblin token here. Yep, there goes the Regent. And the token's going to get shot down. We do have a Reflection that's flipping over. We draw a land as well. So I think that we play this as a black source, play the Helena and Elena. Let's go into full control just in case the game doesn't give us the option here, but it looks like we are getting counterspelled. So fortunately that's not going to get on the battlefield. We attack. It gives us a treasure token. I don't think we can attack right now. We almost want to keep this just in case we need another creature to copy if the Envoy ends up dying. Opponent's going to keep the card on top. Reflection is going to flip over. Let's see what potential threats they have. They just have a power word kill to kill the Reflection, which seems pretty good. We have a Stormseeker. Do we play Stormseeker now? I think we do. And we come in with both. Just so that way we don't give them another creature to copy with the Kiki-Jiki. Then we have the Envoy next turn with haste still. Off of the Stormseeker if it stays alive. I'm still thinking that they're going to trade the 1/1 for the 3/1 here. It just seems like the obvious trade. They also have Lair the Hydra as a 1/1 it looks like. Okay. So yep, gonna block there and a double block. Yeah, I think I'm 100% okay with getting rid of most of the cards they have on the battlefield as well. We get a treasure. And they keep it on top, so they're still drawing gas here. Okay, tap land. I think we just hardcast. This is a 2-turn clock. I still think we just hardcast the Envoy here. Pass a turn back. They have a power word kill. Okay, they have Boseiju. So it was really good that we actually didn't come in with the creature land there, or else we would have gotten blown out a bit. Could have gone for the untapped land, but I really like having the multiple colors here. Still have a Riveteer's Charm to kill something that gets in the way. Opponent putting the card on the bottom. They still have 2 cards left, and Battle Frost and Fire is going to kill our Envoy here, unfortunately. So let's hope to draw something good. We hit a Proving Ground. I think we're just going to have to... Let's play the Proving Ground and pass back. Use this Riveteer's Charm to redraw some cards. Okay, gonna put it on the bottom. They get the Scry 3, which is really good for them. Alright, let's see what they got. Definitely going to the tank here, it looks like. And 2 to the top, 1 to the bottom. Alright, well, we gotta hit some good cards here. See what we hit. Okay, Requisitioner, Fabled Land, not bad. Let's blitz in the Requisitioner. It's nighttime as well, so if we play the Trespasser, it's going to be a glutton to exile 2 creatures to put them down. I'm going to attack first to see what they do. They're going to cycle the Proving Ground. We're going to hit for 3. Oh, looks like they have a power word kill for that. So we get a treasure token. Alright, that's great. So we can play the Fable. And play the Trespasser now. So that worked out great for us there. We'll get rid of a Moonveil Regent. And our Requisitioner to deal our opponent 2 damage, put them down to 4. Okay, they're going to get to scry with the Search of Greatness here. Trespasser does flip, but we're in pretty good control of the game. We'll also be able to blitz in the War Chief as well. So let's see if our opponent can find an answer here. Maybe some blockers. Okay, they're keeping it on top. So let's see what it is. Also get the 3rd chapter of the saga. Alright, wow. So that's at the beginning of their upkeep. So they're at 4. So they're really hoping that they can get through this. Get some redraws as well, but we have a War Chief. Let's actually... Yep, we can just get rid of this duress. Alright. And we'll blitz this in. And come in with all of our creatures. Should be game here. Get a treasure token. We'll exile the Asika. Alright, that was pretty close there. They had the Xanathar down, so they could have started to turn the game around, but we were able to get in there with our hasty creatures.
Pizza people, are you enjoying the content? Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Hit that bell icon as well. That way, anytime any of our new content comes out, you're able to see it right away. Hey, leave a comment down below as well. Tell us what you're going to play in the next event, or tell us what you're enjoying about the video. Don't forget, check out the description too. We've got tons of great content down below. And on top of that, we're going to have our tournament schedule too. So get in on it. Hope to see you.
Blitzing out here on the ladder with some Jund. See if we can be on the play here, and we are. Alright, let's see. Get some aggressiveness going, and I actually think this hand's keepable. It's looking a little bit more like a hand where we mulligan to 6 essentially, but I don't think it's too terrible. We have Fable to kind of help bail us out a little bit by redrawing some fresh cards, and Kalane can make one of our earlier creatures a lot bigger. Start off with the Proving Ground, into the Hive, and a Kalane. Drawing a land's okay. It's not the worst, as we're able to still cast more of our spells in the deck. Let's go ahead and see what our opponent's up to here. Okay, they get a 2nd land down, Ascendant Pack Leader. And we hit a War Chief, which is really great. So let's Fable here into a Goblin. Really hoping that we'll get to swing with the Goblin and then War Chief. And it'll kind of just be massive. I'm not going to attack. I think I'll just hold this Kalane back here. We can take the damage if they end up attacking with their Wolf. It looks like that might be the deck that we're up against here, potentially Gruul. We'll see. Opponent's got 6 cards. After a land drop down to 5. And they even have blue mana, okay. Interesting. Pack Song Pop. 1 mana open here. Looks like they're just going to pass it back. They might just have like a Snakeskin Veil here is what it could look like. We're just going to get a couple redraws. Keep our untapped lands. We hit another land as well, which is fantastic. I think we're going to go ahead and let Chiefs Thirst, Pack Song Puck. It's just going to keep getting bigger. They do get to gain some life, but not really too worried about it. And there's a Snakeskin Veil that we figured they might have. Red mana and Zeotora. Let's get the Envoy down as a 6/5. We'll pass it back. War Chief, probably going to get blitzed in here. Gains us some life. Deals a lot of damage. Put it down to 3 cards. They have another pack leader. So just an assortment of wolves here from our opponent. That does turn into a 4/4 though. It looks like we will have to wait a turn to blitz this in as well. That's okay though. Play one of them now, and then we have a reflection that could potentially just start to copy a lot of our creatures. So I still think we're looking pretty good here. War Chief can trade with something as well. Do we come in with the Zeotora? I don't think so. I think we just want to set up a really massive turn here. Okay, they got 2 cards left. Tovolar, that's going to flip, but a lot of our creatures are also really massive. Okay, Voltage Surge is great. So I think that we copy the War Chief. Seems pretty good. We'll come in with the War Chief. Let's see, both the War Chiefs, the God. Actually, we could just come in with everyone. I think that would be fine. Yep. We have a backup War Chief here. Reflection still going off. And we have this Voltage Surge. So we might not end up casting the second War Chief yet. Okay, gonna block the 2/2, which definitely happy with. And they're gonna take the rest of the damage. So yep, we'll go to damage. They have 1 card left. Did they just have a counterspell here? It'd be kind of crazy if they did. I actually get to cast something for free maybe off the top of our deck, depending on what it is. We'll see. We have to deal 6, so we're pretty much going to be able to cast anything from our deck. And we get a Stormseeker for free, which is nice. And I think I'd rather just play this War Chief as a 6/4 and just have lots of power on the battlefield, rather than trying to spend this Voltage Surge on potentially trying to kill a card that they have a counterspell for, or protection for. We get a token as well. And pretty much anything has haste from the Stormseeker and the Reflection. And our Slasher is going to flip over to Nighttime as well because of the Tovolar. So our opponent has to deal with quite a lot of power that we have on the battlefield here. See what they're up to. 2 cards in hand. Now the Tovolar can pump up a creature. We're at 29 though. I mean, we've got the board advantage, the life advantage. Yep, Pack Song Pop's gonna get bigger. We can actually just take this and not really care too much about it. I think we'll still just trade here, and this doesn't have trample yet. They could give it trample. I think that's fine. We just block here just in case. Make them have to do it. Make them spend mana. We're just dead next turn, so it's pretty much irrelevant here. And look at the draw some cards. Maybe make some blockers. Try to kill this reflection probably would be the best thing. But they might not have the answer for it either. Okay. So it looks like they don't really have anything, I don't believe. Besides this backup Tovolar. Okay, they get to fight with something here, which is pretty nice. There's both of our creatures. They do gain life, so they go back up to 10. But we also do have the Hive of the Eye Tyrant. We'll get to copy a War Chief and just come in for a ton of damage. I think I like our removal spells here. Unleash is a bit expensive though, especially if they're going to be doing some early things, but at the same time it's definitely an effective card. Requisitioner gets a little bit worse. Dread Fugue I don't think is good enough. Could also bring in another Riveteer's Charm. Yeah, I guess we do keep all the Requisitioners just for the early game. It trades with most of their cards, so we don't mind it as much in this creature matchup. There's times where you just want to take it out because so many 1/1s just trade with it, but I think this is not one of those cases. Alright. So, gonna be on the draw this time, but we can hope for a good hand here with a curve. Maybe some blitz cards to get aggressive. We have pretty good removal too that lines up well against a lot of their creatures. Yeah, it looks like our hand's actually wanting to be really aggressive. We'll keep it. We're on the draw, but it's looking good. We have a Kalane into our own Stormseeker. We know it's pretty likely that our opponent probably plays that card as well. Could also Envoy as a 6/5, which seems pretty decent. I think that might be the play. Our hand's looking pretty good. Let's see what they're up to. Okay, so the pack leader coming in for 2. And they have another pack leader. Go and get this Kalane down. Once again, it's an option to trade, but I think I'm likely to take the damage. They have a Tovolar. Would be a pretty quick clock here if they do. Especially considering that their werewolves or the wolves are going to flip. These don't really do anything, but still scary for any card they play after that. Stormseeker. And they're getting pretty aggressive here. I think we take it. We have Zeratora. That's going to be big. And we'll pass it back. So should be able to block here against their threats. We can block with the Kalane now. We don't have any more treasures out. Arlencourt's pretty good, as they're able to make some werewolves here. Yeah. And these are also a lot bigger as well, so we can't just trade with them with the Kalane anymore. But they don't attack. And we have another Envoy coming down. So it's going to be a battle of the battlefield here. And they're going to uptick on their Arlen. Okay, Stormseeker. Gonna pump up a card here. So looking a bit rough. We really need some removal spells, but at the same time we also have 2 really big creatures on the battlefield. Like if our opponent gets too aggressive, we're just gonna be able to swing back and get some free cards out of it. And we do hit a land drop, which is nice, especially a red land. I think that we have to play the Requisitioner. And the Stormseeker is probably correct. The Fable does give us redraw, so let's actually get the Fable down because I think I'd rather get a removal spell or dig deeper into our deck for one rather than 2/3 that's just really giving some creatures haste, but we're not even able to attack here. I get a feeling that we're going to see some werewolves potentially here at instant speed. Yep, we got a pop. And that was just it for now. The Stormseeker does flip back over, which is good. Okay, Arlen's just going to uptake once again. And we're going to discard... We're going to discard the Proving Ground and the Stormseeker. They're not really doing anything for us. We do hit a land. I think we're going to go with a War Chief here. And we're really hoping that this Reflection is what takes us over the top, because we'll be able to copy the War Chiefs and gain some more life. And they do have Make Disappear though for us, so still hoping that the Reflection can help get us there. Can't attack yet though, gonna have to pass it back. All right. Two cards left. They did make the Arlen into a creature. They're going to pump that up as well. We're at 11, so this could be the last swing effort from our opponent, but it actually looks like they're just coming in with that. I think we'll take it here and see if we can get a good draw. Okay, still no removal spell. That's going to flip over, so we have to block now on their turn when they attack. Do get another Envoy down, which is pretty huge. And we're just going to have to pass the turn back. That looks like they might have a removal for something here. They're definitely targeting fight spell of some sort, maybe. Yep, inscription. So they're going to make their Paxon pop pretty huge. Get a redraw here. That's going to turn into a 5/5. And they're going to up on the Paxon pup, so it's a 9/7, and they're going to swing out with everyone. So we have to figure out and see if we can survive this. So the 9/7. Yeah, I don't think that we can block enough of the trample creatures here because we'd have to double block. Let's see, so we block here. Block the Arlen to not take all of that. Block a token. Token, chump block. Then we would still be taking 4 just from this. Yeah, so even if still just can't block enough of it, so we're gonna have to try to see if we can win game 3 here. And do we bring in more Unleash the Infernos? Really could have used them that game. I think the Stormseeker might not be good enough here. Let's bring in one more Inferno. Just want to make sure we have enough removal here. Definitely running into like some board stalls on the ground, seeing as how like neither one of our decks has like evasion outside of some trample. And we do draw 2 Infernos here, but this hand is a little bit weaker, so we do have to mulligan down to 6 cards. No red mana is a bit difficult, so we're going to have to go down to 5. And I think that we can keep this 5-card hand. Start off like this with the Rock Veil into the Requisitioner, potentially into this Envoy early if the Requisitioner ends up having to trade with a card, or just dies. And let's go and get a Requisitioner down. Pass a turn back. Okay, just 2 mana open for our opponent here. Let's play this as a red source. Gonna come in with a Requisitioner. If they have a removal spell, we're pretty happy because they'll give us a treasure for this Envoy. And we might be able to use this Riveteer's Charm on the following turn. Okay, so it looks like they're just gonna take the damage. Let's play a Trespasser down. We still have some threats. We mulligan down to 5, but we're not too far behind considering right now on the tempo we're looking ahead. Do they have a removal spell? Not yet. So we're hoping for a land drop, but either way we might end up just using this charm to kill whatever card they put on the battlefield. Stormseeker. Coming in for 3, we're not going to block. Could play the Zeatoras, but I think it's safer to make our opponent sacrifice their Stormseeker to make sure that whatever they play next doesn't have haste. And now we can deal 6 damage, 7 by exiling Stormseeker that we just killed, and then if we top deck a land, we have Zeatora with Blitz. Okay, they get 2 werewolves down. That's really good. We do have the Envoy hitting as well here. I think we have to do that to put the most amount of pressure on our opponent. That also means that they can't double block one of our cards. We don't have any creatures anywhere, so we're not getting the max value out of the Trespasser. And looks like they are gonna block there and potentially, okay, just double block the card. So that's actually really good for us because that was gonna die either way. And we actually get a redraw from the Envoy as well. So we get to redraw the Envoy and we draw land. So we actually still have another Envoy on the following turn, which is great. We can uptick here, but we have cards with haste. And we have a Bloodchief's Thirst, so let's play this as a red source. We'll blitz in the Envoy. And it might be enough to kill our opponent here. They're at 3, so they need multiple blockers. And our opponent is signifying the GG here. They have a pack leader. And potentially another blocker. Okay, abundance, so they'll pump it up to 6/5. And we still have our Bloodchief's Thirst on the pack leader as well. Could have a Snakeskin Veil, but that's not going to be enough to save them. And it looks like they do have a fight spell here, so they're still going to get to trade with our card, but they are dead to our attackers. And the Graveyard Glutton's going to deal an additional 2 points of damage, putting them at 1, and then the final points of damage dealt by the creatures. Alright, so we went ahead and took that match down with some Blitz. Alright, and we're back for the post-game wrap of Ballroom Blitz. I know I had a blast playing this deck. We definitely got to show off some of the power from the Envoys, the Helenas, the War Chiefs, and as always, you know, the Reflection of Kiki Jiki definitely gets there as well. But overall, definitely recommend the deck for the ladder. We didn't get to play like as many games as I wanted to with this deck, but I definitely got some games in and got to showcase a lot of like the power of the deck. And I think that if you really like aggressive strategy, if you like to beat down, then I think that this is definitely the deck for you. It's got some beefy threats, it's got some nice early mid game, and on top of that, I actually really like the removal that's in the deck and the grind that it can do, considering that there's a lot of, you know, different types of black decks out there, different types of, you know, grindy control decks, just anything like mid-rangey is kind of where standard has been at for a while. And I think that even though this deck is looking like a beat down deck, it definitely has some grind to it with like the charms, the envoys, the war chiefs, and of course, you know, Fable's just a really great mid-range card that helps get you there. So overall, I think that the deck's just a lot of fun, especially if you like playing aggro. I definitely recommend it. Don't forget, we've got some tournaments going on, especially this weekend. We've got an Explorer event, our PizzaBox Open. So definitely check that out. All tournaments are free to play with cash prizes. Definitely check out the description below for those links and the links to my content as well. Stay cheesy.